Ça, c'est les raisons qui expliquent que c'est la région la plus riche. En plus de ça, elle a en tout cas des ressources naturelles aussi qui viennent soutenir cette thèse de plus riche. Elle est la plus pauvre parce que aussi c'est à Maradi que la population du Niger croît le plus rapidement.
Niger has the world record in population growth. Niger will have 50 million inhabitants in 2050 if the current demographic growth rates don't change.
Et cela a fait que c'est aussi donc la région qui est très vulnérable par rapport au choc climatique. Avec donc la disparition des arbres, l'augmentation de l'érosion éolienne qui a entraîné donc la baisse de la fertilité des sols. Donc les conséquences de tout ça, c'est qu'il y a eu baisse de la production, des rendements. Donc devant toutes ces conséquences, des initiatives se sont développées pour essayer de voir comment appuyer les populations à promouvoir des innovations qui sont protectrices de la base de la production qui sont les champs.
This study, which was coordinated by Professor Tourou, revealed is that in many villages, in particular in Maradi and Zinder, we find now 15 to 20 times more trees than we found 20 years ago. So what we see in the Sahel, what has occurred overall, is that we see the development of new agroforestry systems. That's one. And we see a lot of investment in what we call the rehabilitation of the productive capacity of barren land. But what makes Niger such a unique case is that farmers in Maradi and Zinder, in the densely populated parts, in particular in the southern fringe of Maradi and Zinder, have invested heavily in on-farm trees. They have protected and managed them on 5 million hectares. This is the biggest transformation in the Sahel, if not in the whole of Africa.
The regreening in Niger has been carried out for a long time. The regreening can last more than 30 years ago.
With regard to the scale of regreening by farmers in Niger, we are talking about 5 million hectares which have been regreened by farmers since the middle of the 1980s, and it concerns about 200 million new trees. None of these trees has been planted. It's all been a matter that farmers have protected and managed, trees which regenerated spontaneously on their fields.
The village is organized by themselves and set up a kind of committee who is surveying, taking care of the regreening in all those areas belong to the village. The committee is composed with women and men and going up and down throughout the area, taking care of all the regreening aspects in the village.
Puisque garin namu ya shahi karce biyar ne a lokacin da aka yi wannan kwamiti. Kenan kowane karce sai aka bado wakili guda wanda ya san yanayin gonakan karkarai.
It's interesting that many trees are also good fodder trees. Livestock in this region, in Maradi and Zinder, survive 6 months a year on the fodder which is provided by trees. There is a whole range of new fodder that has become available to livestock. So it basically means that fodder is less a constraint for keeping livestock now than it was 20 years ago. Farmers protect and manage trees on their farms because they are very concerned about the depletion of soil fertility. So many of the tree species that they protect and manage have a positive impact on soil fertility.
So this species, Pilostigma reticulatum, it can retain the dust, a lot of dust.
And that dust contains a lot of minerals which are good for soil fertility. And when farmers prune those trees, you see a lot of litter which becomes available to the soil.
And after pruning the tree, they may leave the branches on the soil. When it's dried, they can shake those branches, and when they shake the twigs and the branches, you see, when they shake them, the leaves will fall down on the soil, and it can be incorporated since the termite is around. So the termite will help to work these leaves, and it can help to decompose these leaves, and when it decomposes these leaves, it becomes a fertilizer. Then when they remove those leaves, they may spread them, you may see, they may spread them on the soil so that it can decompose it, and it can be incorporated in the soil, and it can increase the porosity, I mean, the fertility and the holding capacity be enhanced.
In the past, 20 years ago, they used manure as a source of energy in the kitchen. Now all the manure is restituted to the fields to increase soil fertility.
Kenan yanzu akalla mutum in ya shibka a eka ko ba ya kai taki ya samu akalla abin da zai kai dame 50 a cikin eka, karamin misali.
The young generation in any village we visited is taking care of this regreening. Why? Because they are really aware of the damage, of the consequence of the disappearing of tree.
Wannan iska kenan shibka ba ta samu matsala ba, ita sungumi ɗaya yake, amma wanda ya hasabe ya share ya yi sungumi 4 hahiye da haka nan. To alhamdulillahi ya zanto mutane sai haga lalle barin wannan itatuwa abu ne mai muhimmanci.
Ka san da rani zafi wasu sa su gina ba tayi ba, amma cikin ikon Allah ya Allah ubangiji sa da samu daidai gwargwadon abin.
But if villagers organize themselves and decide that they want to protect and manage their on-farm trees, and we have seen examples of that in Niger also, then it can also be done in northern Nigeria. I always say what farmers in southern Niger can do, there is no reason why farmers in northern Nigeria can't do it.